Right now, somewhere in America, there's a couple sitting at a kitchen table with a laptop open and a search filter that isn't working. They've got a number in mind. They've got a picture in mind. And every time they hit search, the state they're looking at hands them something that doesn't match either one. Oklahoma is not that state. This is a place where 10 acres costs less than a parking spot in Scottsdale, where Victorian built in 1907 still has its original fireplace mantel, carved oak, floor to ceiling, and asks $108 a square foot for privilege, where a stone farmhouse from 1940, hand-laid on 12 open acres, is sitting on the market right now wondering why nobody's called. I'm Max. Every week, a different state. Hundreds of listings, one list. Subscribe so you see them before everyone else does. 10 properties across Oklahoma, all under $250,000. By the time we reach property 10, you'll see a number that made me stop and read the listing a second time just to be sure. Let's go. From the air, this property looks like someone planted a house inside a forest and then added a pool. The drone goes up and all you see is mature oak canopy. Big, old trees that took 50 years to grow, and tucked inside all of it, a gray ranch with stone accent base and a covered back patio wide enough to park 2 cars under. Broken Arrow sits 12 miles west of Tulsa. Most people who discover it stop, looking for somewhere else. The schools are rated well. Rosewood Elementary pulls an A-, and the median home price in this part of town runs $247,300. This house comes in at $250,000, which is essentially median for Broken Arrow. What's not median is what's sitting on the lot. 1 acre, corner position, privacy fence on one side, chain link on the other, and mature trees on every edge so you're not staring at your neighbor's fence from the back patio. Inside, the living room is the whole argument. Vaulted ceilings, French doors to the back patio, and a floor-to-ceiling stone fireplace that stops you when you walk in. Not a decorative insert, not a surround. A full stone fireplace built into the wall, with a raised hearth and a wood mantel. The kind of thing you build a living room around, not the other way. The stone fireplace doesn't decorate this room. It anchors it. In a room that size, on a cold Oklahoma evening, the fire is the room. The kitchen runs oak cabinets the full perimeter, open to the dining area with wainscoting and a pendant chandelier. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,568 square feet. The covered back patio is wide and deep. Room for a table, chairs, a grill, and still space to pace. No HOA. Crime score 30, well below the national average of 35.4. Rent in Broken Arrow runs $1,150 a month. That's $13,800 a year. In 18 years, you've handed a landlord $248,400. This house asks $250,000. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,568 square feet. Stone fireplace, covered patio, 1 acre corner lot. No HOA, $159 a square foot, $250,000. The stone fireplace, the vaulted ceiling, and the French doors are still there whether you buy it or scroll past. That's not an argument for the house. That's just what it is. One quick thing before the next property. Where are you watching from? Specifically, are you looking at Oklahoma because you're thinking about moving here, or is this a different kind of research? Drop it in the comments. And this is exactly where the list starts making less and less sense. Because what comes next costs less, offers 10 acres and a stock workshop, and it started even higher than this 6 months ago. The address on this one puts you on Wilson North Jones Road in eastern Bryan County, 30 miles west of the Texas border, 45 miles east of Ada. No through traffic. Nobody drives past by accident. Bennington doesn't announce itself. About 1,000 people, a post office, and the kind of quiet that doesn't get manufactured. The median home price here is $228,700. This listing is $229,500, essentially at market. But the market in Bennington includes 10 acres, a seasonal creek, a pond, and a separate outdoor workshop. In most states, you'd pay twice this for 2 of those things. The workshop is the reason this listing exists at this price. Not the house, the shop, metal building, concrete floor, LED strip lighting running the full length of the ceiling. The kind of space where you could run a business out of, store a boat, build something serious. And there's a fishing boat parked right outside it, which tells you everything about how the previous owners used this property. A sign on the workshop door says, "Welcome to the ranch." It's not ironic. Inside, the living room is reclaimed wood around the fireplace, hardwood floors, a cowhide rug, and a deer mount on the wall. This room doesn't perform cabin character. It just has it. Someone already built a life here. You're buying the land and inheriting the atmosphere. The kitchen has a butcher block island, exposed brick on the wall behind the range, dark wood cabinets and industrial pendant lights. It photographs better than most kitchens and houses at twice this price. The bathrooms are mid-renovation. One has barn door hardware and a walking glass shower. The other is unfinished. That's the honest flag. Parts of this interior are mid-project. The plywood flooring in sections is not a staging choice. No HOA. Crime score 28.2, below the national average. Rent in Bryan County runs $720 a month. That's $8,640 a year. Over 5 years, $43,200 handed to a landlord. This house, with 10 acres and a working shop, started at $289,500. It's already down $60,000, and it's still sitting there. The market is telling you something. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,648 square feet, 10 acres, seasonal creek, pond, outdoor workshop. No HOA, $139 a square foot, $229,500. Already $60,000 off the original ask. This is not a finished house. But it's a finished life, ranch sign, fishing boat, 10 acres, and a shop that earns its keep. The interior catches up. The land doesn't change. The next one is newer than anything else on this list. Built in 2022. And the kitchen inside it belongs in a custom build. Not on 5 acres in Garvin County for $210,000. I need to say the kitchen before I say the price. Because if I say the price first, you'll assume the kitchen matches it. It doesn't. Light natural wood cabinets. Full perimeter. Quartz waterfall island with bar seating for 3. Industrial cage pendant lights. Stainless appliances. Shiplap backsplash. A range hood that looks like it was ordered from a catalog for a house at $450,000. The price is $210,000. This is a 2022 manufactured home, 5 miles east of Elmore City, on 5.07 acres of open Oklahoma pasture, built the year before last. Everything inside is factory fresh, and the finishes are not factory standard. The barn door to the laundry room, the quartz counters, the wood look LVP throughout. Someone specified this build carefully. The master bedroom window faces open pasture. You wake up, and the first thing you see is your own 5 acres. That's not a detail. That's how the day starts. Elmore City sits in Garvin County, central Oklahoma. The median home price here is $78,500. This house is $210,000, well above median. But the median does include 5 acres, a 2022 build, or a kitchen that photographs like a magazine shoot. The crime score is 15.5, the lowest on this list, well below the national average of 35.4. Rent in this market runs $790 a month. One honest note, this is a manufactured home. That affects financing. Not every lender treats it identically to a site-built house. Verify your loan options before you call. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,248 square feet, 5.07 acres, open pasture, 2022 build. No HOA listed. Crime score 15.5, $168 a square foot, $210,000. The kitchen doesn't belong in this price range. That's not a complaint. That's the whole point of this list. The next property was built in 1907. It has been standing on the same corner lot in northeast Oklahoma for 118 years. And there's one thing inside it I need to talk about before anything else. I need to talk about the fireplace before I talk about anything else in this house. Because the fireplace is why this listing exists at this price. And if I describe the rooms first, you'll look at the price and assume the fireplace matches the budget. It doesn't. The mantel is carved oak, floor height to mirror height, with turned columns on each side, decorative capitals, and a cast iron insert behind ornamental tile surround. It was built into this parlor in 1907, and it has not moved. You could not buy that mantel today for what this house asks for everything attached to it. This is 349 South Foreman Street, Vinita, Oklahoma, a Victorian cottage built when Oklahoma was still Indian Territory, 3 years before statehood. Steep gabled roof line, decorative shingle detail in the gable peak, stone front steps, white picket fence, teal front door. It photographs like something from a different century, because it is. Vinita is one of Oklahoma's oldest cities, Route 66 country, northeast of Tulsa near Grand Lake, the Cherokees. Tight-knit, slow-paced. The kind of town where the managing broker of the local real estate office has lived her entire life and doesn't plan to leave. The median home here is $131,500. This listing at $195,000 is well above median, because 1907 Victorians on 3/4 acre corner lots with original hardwood floors don't show up at median prices. Inside, the original hardwood runs from room to room without interruption, wide plank, warm-toned, the kind of floor that took decades to settle into this color. The windows are tall and original, with the decorative wood trim intact. There are transom windows above the interior doorways, pocket doors between rooms, and a curved bay window in what would have been the formal parlor. Upstairs, unfinished, already plumbed for a bathroom. The listing is honest about it. The potential is there. The work is not done. The kitchen is a full update project. That's the honest flag. This is a restoration, not a move-in. But the bones are everything in a house like this. The bones are 1907. No, HOA. Crime score 27.4, below the national average. Rent in Vinita runs $820 a month. That's $9,840 a year. Over 5 years, $49,200 to a landlord. This house asks $195,000. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, 1,808 square feet. 2-car detached garage, .78 acre corner lot. No, HOA, $108 a square foot. $195,000. That carved oak fireplace mantel has been standing in that parlor since 1907. Every renovation that comes next is just a conversation with something that was already there. The next property was built in 1968. The mantel is gone, the fireplace is brick, and none of that matters, because someone built this house to stay in it through a direct hit from an Oklahoma tornado. The proof is in the backyard. This house has been on its corner lot in Glencoe since 1968. That's not a detail. That's the argument. Full brick. Not brick veneer. Not brick accent. Full brick on every side. All the way around. The kind of exterior that doesn't require painting. Doesn't warp in a wet spring. Doesn't rot in a dry summer. Low maintenance is not a selling point on this house. It's structural fact. Glencoe sits in Payne County, central Oklahoma, 60 miles northeast of Oklahoma City, 65 miles west of Tulsa. Small town, close community. Glencoe Elementary is rated a 10 out of 10. The median home here is $188,500. This listing is $189,900. Right at market. For a house that comes with a 2025 roof, a storm shelter, and a gambrel roof barn in the backyard. That barn is not what you expect on a residential lot. Double door entry on the lower level, loft access above. It has a roof line of a working farm barn and the footprint of a serious storage building or workshop. Most neighborhoods have restrictions that prevent this kind of structure. Glencoe doesn't. Inside, 1,550 square feet with a pass-through kitchen bar, solid oak cabinets throughout, and a double-wall oven and ceramic cooktop combination that punches well above the listing price. The layout is open between living and dining, hardwood LVP to the main areas, and a large flexible room divider that lets you configure the space differently as your needs change. The storm shelter is in the backyard, concrete in-ground, steel door. In Oklahoma, that's not an amenity. It's a statement of intention. Someone built this house to stay in it through anything. The 2025 roof means the next owner doesn't touch the top of this house for 20 years. One honest flag. The interior paint is aggressively dated, bold color choices throughout the living area. It's a weekend of work, not a renovation. The structure doesn't need a single thing. No HOA. Crime score 21.5, the lowest in the first half of this list, well below the national average of 35.4. Rent in Glencoe runs $780 a month. That's $9,360 a year. In 20 years, that's $187,200 to a landlord. This house asks $189,900. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,550 square feet. Full brick. New roof in 2025. In-ground storm shelter. Gambrel roof barn included. No HOA. Crime score 21.5. $189,900. In Oklahoma, a concrete storm shelter in the backyard isn't an upgrade. It's what you build when you plan to stay. The next property was built in 1940 on 12 acres of Oklahoma pasture. But I need to talk about the outside before I say anything about the inside, because the outside is the reason this listing is priced the way it is. I need to talk about the exterior before I talk about the house, because you can renovate a kitchen, you can replace a floor. You cannot hand-lay Oklahoma fieldstone on a farmhouse in 1940 and have someone do it again today for what this listing is asking. Every stone on this house was placed by hand. Irregular fieldstone, warm amber, and rust tones, mortared tight and stacked from the foundation to the peak of the gable. The covered stone porch has stone columns. The chimney is stone. The steps are stone. This exterior was built by someone who intended it to outlast everything around it, and 85 years later, it has. The address is 6916 State Highway 113, Indianola, Pittsburgh County, southeast Oklahoma, 90 miles south of Tulsa, 120 miles east of Oklahoma City. Indianola is a small community in the mountains and woodlands of the southeast corner of the state. Lake Eufaula country, quiet roads, the kind of place where the listing price on 12 acres of pasture still surprises you even after you've been doing this for a while. The median home in Indianola is $153,500. This listing is $169,900, above median, and the acreage alone justifies the difference. 12.28 acres. Partially fenced. A separate workshop with 2 overhead doors and a concrete floor. Functional right now. A second older barn structure on the property. Deteriorating but standing. Assess it before you factor in. Inside, the living room has wood paneling throughout, a wood-burning fireplace with stone surround, and a plywood subfloor where the finished flooring has been pulled. The kitchen has a drop ceiling with original oak cabinets and the bones of a workable layout. The bathrooms have been updated with tile surrounds. The bedrooms are clean and carpeted. Here's what that picture means in practice. This is a full interior renovation. The exterior is immaculate. The interior is a blank slate. Price it in before you call, not after. No HOA. Crime score 23, below the national average of 35.4. Rent in this market runs $850 a month. Over 5 years, $51,000 to a landlord. This house asks $169,900 on 12 acres with a working shop. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,809 square feet. 12.28 acres. Stone construction, working shop, partially fenced. No HOA. $94 a square foot. $169,900. That stone exterior was laid stone by stone in 1940. You don't buy the interior. You buy what someone decided to build for keeps. And the interior is just the next chapter you write. This is for the buyer who knows the difference between a house that needs cosmetics and a house that needs structure. This one needs cosmetics. The structure has been standing since before World War II. The next one gave me the aerial shot first. And from above, 12 wooded acres in Carter County look like the forest open up just enough to let a house sit down. From above, this property doesn't look like it's near the woods. It looks like the woods open up just enough to let a house sit down. The drone footage tells you everything the listing doesn't say first. 12.72 acres of post oak woodland wrapping around the house on 3 sides. A metal roof catching the light through the canopy. A gravel drive winding in from the highway. And somewhere in those trees, a stocked pond you can't see from the road. This is 27632 U.S. Highway 70, Wilson, Carter County, southern Oklahoma, 90 miles south of Oklahoma City, and 75 miles north of Dallas. Wilson has fewer than 800 people and no traffic lights that need checking. The median home here is $124,800. This listing is $145,000, above median for the county, justified by the acreage, the pond, and the timber. The house itself is a 1956 wood frame on a metal roof. Small, functional, fully occupied. The interior has been updated with LVP flooring throughout, ceiling fans in every room, and a pass-through kitchen with white cabinets and a stainless fridge. The living areas are modest, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,220 square feet, and the current owners have made it comfortable with what's there. One honest flag: there is no central HVAC. The living spaces run on window unit air, conditioning, and wall heater units. In a Carter County summer, that's worth factoring into your first-year budget. The property comes with covered parking, an RV hookup already installed, fruit trees, a carport, and a stocked pond, which the listing invites you to bring fishing poles to, and that invitation is not rhetorical. The metal roof means you're not looking at a roofing bill for a generation. No, HOA. Crime score 25.2, below the national average. Rent in Wilson runs $870 a month. That's $10,440 a year. Over 5 years, $52,200 to a landlord. This house with 12 acres and a stock pond asks $145,000. This is for the person who wants land, privacy, and enough timber around them that the nearest sound at night is whatever's moving through the trees. Not a vision, not a renovation project. 12.7 acres of post oak woodland with a house already sitting in the middle of it and a pond you can fish before breakfast. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,220 square feet. 12.72 acres, metal roof, stock pond, RV hookup. No, HOA. $119 a square foot. $145,000. The next one is inside the Guthrie city limits. Oklahoma's first state capital. Victorian architecture, front porches on every block. And there's something in the bathroom of this 1940 craftsman that I wasn't expecting when I opened the listing. This house has been on its corner lot in Guthrie since 1940. The listing calls it a fixer. That's accurate. What the listing doesn't say is that the bones inside it are worth more than most finished houses at this price. Guthrie was Oklahoma's first state capital. 3 years of statehood. Then the capital moved to Oklahoma City, but the architecture stayed. Victorian storefronts, wide tree-lined streets, covered front porches on every block. The town has held steady around 10,000 people since the land run of 1889, and it still looks like someone froze the downtown in 1910 and kept the heat on. The median home here is $186,600. This craftsman sits at $125,000. $61,000 below median, because it needs work, a lot of it. But here's what the work uncovers. Original wide plank hardwood floors run through the main living areas. Not refinished, not replaced, original under their age, still intact. White craftsman-style wainscoting and built-in glass door display. Cases flank the brick fireplace in the living room. The columns between rooms are structural and decorative. Turned wood, white-painted. The kind of millwork you'd pay a custom carpenter $10,000 to reproduce today. A bay window room off the living area has original trim on every window. Oak hardwood continuing through, and proportions that photograph like a feature in an architectural magazine. And then there's the bathroom. Red cast iron clawfoot tub. Pedestal sink. Beadboard wainscoting. Floral wallpaper ready to come down. That tub has been in this house since before the Second World War, and it is still there, still whole, still doing what it was made to do. The house needs everything around it. That tub needs nothing. The kitchen has been updated functionally. Stainless range, oak cabinets, tile floor, and a breakfast nook sits off to one side with its own window. A formal dining room with original hardwood and a chandelier. Laundry room on the main floor. The exterior needs landscaping and paint. The side of the house has overgrown vines that are cosmetic, not structural. Crime score in Guthrie runs 41.9, above a national average of 35.4. That's the flag. Walk the neighborhood at different times of day and make your own read. The price accounts for it. Rent in Guthrie runs $870 a month. That's $10,440 a year. In 12 years, you've handed a landlord $125,280. This house asks $125,000. The math is the math. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,617 square feet. Original hardwood, craftsman built-ins, bay window, clawfoot tub, brick fireplace. $77 a square foot. $125,000. The clawfoot tub has been waiting in that bathroom since 1940. The house needs work. That tub doesn't. Know which one you're buying, and know they come together. The next one is under $75,000. 1 acre corner lot directly across from a park and a splash pad next to a school rated A-. In a city 45 minutes from Tulsa. And I need to say everything about it honestly before you call. The address is 831 Altamont Street, Central Muskogee. Corner lot, 1.03 acres. Directly across the street from Elliott Park. Splash pad, open green space, the kind of park families move near on purpose. Sadler Art Academy, rated A-, is adjacent. That combination of location, park frontage, rated school, corner acre in a city of 45,000, does not show up at $71,400 unless something serious is wrong with the house. Something serious is wrong with the house. The listing notes no heating system and no hot water. The interior photos confirm an abandoned property, not a vacant one. Debris throughout multiple rooms. Evidence of water intrusion at the baseboard level in the bedroom. A caution tape on the floor. The kitchen and bathroom are original 1945, functional in form, not in practice. The old storefront building on the corner of the lot, which the listing describes as a potential workshop or studio, is currently consumed by climbing vines and needs a full structural assessment before any use. The crime score in Muskogee runs 57.1, the highest on this list, well above the national average of 35.4. That's not a footnote. That's a primary variable in the decision. Price it in before you call, not after. Muskogee sits 45 miles southeast of Tulsa, and Merle Haggard made it famous in 1969. The city is salt-of-the-earth rural eastern Oklahoma with a historic brick downtown. 45 minutes to Tulsa, full urban amenities, Arrowhead Mall, hospital system. The median home here is $116,500. This property on a corner acre asks $71,400. The lot value in this location, separate from the structure, is the starting argument. Here's what the numbers mean in practice. Buy it for $71,400. Budget $60,000 to $80,000 for a full gut renovation. Heating, hot water, flooring, kitchen, bath, cleanup. Total cost, $130,000 to $150,000. In a Muskogee market where comparable renovated homes sell above $116,500, that math works for the right investor. It doesn't work for a buyer who isn't prepared to fund the full scope before they move in. This is for the investor who understands that sometimes you're not buying a house. You're buying a corner acre across from a park, next to an A- school, in a city with Tulsa 20 minutes up the highway. And the house is the price of admission. 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,414 square feet. 1.03 acres, corner lot, park frontage, school adjacent. No HOA. $50 a square foot. $71,400. That corner address didn't forget where it is. The house forgot itself. The location never did. The next one is the last on this list. $48,000. 3 acres in Osage County. And I sat with that number for a while before I kept going. because under the linoleum in the front room, the original hardwood is still there. I need to say the number first, because if I describe the property and save it for the end, you'll assume I'm building to something more than $48,000. I'm not. This is 315 West 5th Street, Hominy, Osage County. A 1945 cottage on 3 lots, roughly 3 acres inside city limits, with attached garage shop structure, original woodwork throughout, and wide plank hardwood floors under the old linoleum. Sold as is. The listing doesn't hedge that. Hominy grew from a trading post on the Osage Cattle Trail in the 1880s. About 3,300 people now, tucked into the hills of Osage County, deep in the part of Oklahoma where the Osage Nation and the oil history are woven into the same landscape. The Hominy American Indian Festival runs every June. Tulsa is less than an hour east. The median home here is $81,100. This property asks $48,000, 40% below median, because the house is in serious disrepair and the listing says so plainly. Here's what the photos show. The exterior has the original lap siding, covered front porch with concrete block columns, and a deep tree canopy that keeps the property shaded. The porch ceiling is deteriorating, visible in the photos. The interior has room layouts that are generous for the square footage, with tall windows on the front and side elevations and original door trim throughout. One bedroom has active ceiling damage from a roof penetration. That's not a cosmetic issue. That's the first line of the budget conversation. The garage shop structure on the property has deteriorated beyond salvage in its current form. 2 stories of weatherwood, windows missing, boards warping. The kitchen is a full gut. What remains? The original wide plank hardwood floors under the coverings. The original woodwork on the doors and windows. The room proportions of a house that was built to last and has been waiting. And 3 acres inside a small Oklahoma City, a block from the main road, for $48,000. Rent in Hominy runs $820 a month. That's $9,840 a year. Buy this property for $48,000. Budget $70,000 for a full restoration. Roof, flooring reveal, kitchen, bath, structural repairs. Total cost, $118,000. In a Hominy market where the median sits at $81,100, that's a long play. But the land is 3 acres. The Osage County location is permanent. The $48,000 entry point is the only variable that can change. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,301 square feet, 3 acres, original woodwork, wide plank hardwood undercoverings, detached shop structure, no HOA, $37 a square foot, as is, $48,000. Under the linoleum in that front room, the hardwood is still there, under the peeling paint. The original trim is still there. At $37 a square foot on 3 acres in Osage County, the question isn't what's wrong with it. It's whether you're the person who sees what it was. 10 properties across Oklahoma. Broken Arrow to Hominy. $250,000 to $48,000. A stone fireplace in a vaulted living room on 1 acre in Tulsa's shadow. 10 acres of Bryan County woodland with a workshop that already has a sign on the door. A 2022 manufactured home with a quartz island kitchen sitting on 5 open acres. A 1907 Victorian with a carved oak mantel that has been standing in the same parlor for 118 years. A full brick ranch with a 2025 roof and a concrete storm shelter in the backyard. A hand-laid stone farmhouse from 1940 on 12 acres with a working shop. 12 wooded acres with a stock pond and a metal roof in southern Oklahoma. A 1940 craftsman in Oklahoma's first state capital with original hardwood and a cast iron clawfoot tub. A corner acre across from a park next to a rated school in a city 45 minutes from Tulsa. And a 1945 cottage on 3 acres in Osage County for $48,000. Oklahoma has been doing this quietly. The land is here. The prices are here. Most people look at this state and see something else entirely. Flat, unremarkable, passed over. They keep driving. The people who found these towns a decade ago paid a fraction of what similar acreage costs today. The window doesn't stay open at these numbers indefinitely. Most of the country drives right past Oklahoma without slowing down. You watched until the end. That's already a different calculation. The links to every property are in the description below. I'm Max. The listings I find don't stay available. Subscribe so you see the next date before everyone else does. Which of these 10 is the one you'd actually call about? And are you looking to invest, move in, or finally stop renting? Drop it below.